Okay, everybody, hello and welcome to How to Network in an Uncertain Job Market. It is Monday, September 29th, 2025, and I believe it is still the case for that in most of the world here. Welcome from wherever you may be on this wonderful planet we call Earth. My name is Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List. We are a job search, side hustle, and AI education company with webinars and workshops in all of those areas. And with me today is my co-host Garrett Rice of Callings.ai. Um, and so let me get this to my screen here. A little bit about me. I'm a content strategist, product marketer for companies in the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond. I founded Albert's List, a community of 50,700 members on Facebook to support job seekers in various resources. And I'll have a link to you on that next page. And I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. And with me today is my awesome co-host and sidekick, Garrett Rice. Garrett, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. I'm Garrett Rice, longtime Silicon Valley person. My partner and I recognized that the tools available for job seekers a couple years ago were not up to the task. It's only gotten worse. So we've been working and building Callings.ai, which is an AI-powered total job hunt platform. And one of the many features that we provide is targeted networking, which I'll talk about later. But super excited to be here. The modern job hunt's a challenge, so we're looking forward to sharing ideas that might help you.
Excellent, excellent. Yep, we're looking forward to sharing with you some resources and insights today that will be of value. And so a little bit about Albert's List, right? We just mentioned that it's a community of 50,700 members. We run job search, side hustle, and AI bootcamp and webinar programs and workshops to help you drive career success because we want you to be the most indispensable professional you can possibly be. So I have a QR code here at the top right. Feel free to go ahead and take a picture of that or go to the link here that you see here on screen. I'm just talking a little bit longer so you can get access to that. All right, so we have a really quick agenda today. We want you to start your Monday off right and get back into the networking game and make this work for yourself. And so we're going to cover three areas, like why networking in this particular job market, right? As many of you have stated here in the chat, you're currently on a job search, you're struggling to find a job, struggling to find a remote job, and there's just a lot of different things going on in your life. And so we're going to talk about and justify why you got to get out there and do something different. Then we're going to go into the power of networking and why networking matters so much. And then I'm going to go into the meat of why you probably all showed up today is your three tactics for networking success. I'm hopefully here to talk at you a little bit, but I also want to talk with you because I think it's incredibly important that many of you learn what it means to network and how to network and just really how to be execution oriented in this entire phase of your professional career life. And then, yeah, just to also do some house cleaning, we are recording this webinar as we speak. It'll be available on our YouTube page, which I will go ahead and send out to Garrett as well afterwards. And this presentation will also be sent out as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why networking in this job market. A couple of the stats here that we have upcoming are very US based, but I think they're also reflective of where the world is going due to various different factors. And so the first thing that we've noticed, right, is that since the end of the pandemic, the job market has really slid back towards an employer's market. During the Great Resignation era, you could probably close your eyes, throw a dart at the wall, and get a job. Since interest rates have gone up, inflation has returned and continued to stay sticky, and there have been all these geopolitical issues. We are now reaching a point where, at least in the United States, there are now more job openings than there are, or rather, there are more unemployed workers than there are job openings. And that's not good news for those of you who are looking for a job, because that means there are more people per job posting, and that means you have to find a way to be competitive and be different. So if you've been sending your job applications into the dark portal that is LinkedIn or any of these job search sites and hoping to get a reply, it is going to be incredibly, incredibly difficult. And so this is just one of the things that's driving what we're talking about. Um, Companies and people in this world also like to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And so this is some of the data that I've been able to pull around what it means to really look at how companies view referrals and understand their perspective on referrals. Recruiting, as you may know, is one of the most expensive operations processes that a company can run because it is going out into the internet and finding people who are qualified and interested in looking for that job. And so when it comes to referrals, 84% of companies believe that referrals are the most cost-effective sourcing strategy because they look to people like you and I, or they look to their employees to look for people like you and I to help fill their ranks. And when people go and they look for people that they know, like, and trust and work with, it improves their improvement. They improves their first year retention and their quality to hire because they can find ways to really look for people who are trustworthy and will stay. And so it reduces that time to filling those roles and is incredibly important. As you also may know, 85% of job positions are occupied through personal or professional connections. So if you're not a connected person today, it behooves you to do so, right? And you have a webinar chat, and there are 241 of you here who are in the attendee list. So if you haven't had a chance to share your LinkedIn profile yet, and to get to know one another, this is exactly the place where you do it. So I encourage you to, add 10, 15 people within the LinkedIn chat today. We just had somebody who just shared their profile who works at JPL, which is really amazing. And there's a lot of people who are much smarter than I am in this chat, and you can really create a vast network for yourself. And especially if you live in a region where there are other individuals who have attended this webinar this morning, get out, have coffee. If you're in LA, New York, or San Francisco in particular, tech weeks are coming up. And so use that opportunity these next couple of weeks to get out, meet people in person, and network together and really take advantage of all those opportunities available. AI has also changed how the recruitment process for jobs work in this uncertain job market. I think many of us have experienced an AI robot that has tried to interview us, and these things are all very, I would say, dehumanizing in some sense. And so, also networking to get around it is one way to get through that entire process. And so, I would highly encourage you to look into networking because AI is only getting hotter and it's only becoming more ubiquitous in every single part of the hiring process. And so this leads us to our second section, which explains the power of networking. So, right, we're talking about why networking is something that you should consider, and we're going to talk about the power of networking. And so, in this section, we have really three types of networking that are part of what we understand to make up all of networking today. Number one is networking that really is helpful for everyone in this type of job market, and we call it warm networking. Many of you might come in here and say, but I don't have a network, Albert. And then really the question and the thought about that is if you've made friends in your life, if you have worked at companies prior, if you graduated from a university, from a high school, if you're part of a church, you already have a network. And this is called a warm network where people already know who you are, and you already have some kind of shared history, shared interest. And for those types of individuals, you can ask directly for introductions, advice, or referrals. There's also serendipitous networking. And so this is where you go to events like this, like webinars and online communities where you can uncover hidden opportunities, post strategically, and to let people know that you're in the market, but with intention. And this is, where you can post what's going on in your life, whether it's with Reddit or, my Facebook group, and this webinar here. And so I would encourage you all to add each other here within this webinar chat and really get to know one another. And then the third type of networking is very targeted networking. And we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later too, as one of the tactics, where you speak to hiring managers, employees of a company, and it's very role specific and company specific. And sometimes we call this informational interviewing. And so that's actually going to be the first tip later. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that is. And so targeted networking should be a part of your tool set as far as networking is concerned. But in all three of these aspects of networking are things that you should be actively doing because it helps you build your network, expand your network, and solidify your existing network. All right. And so there are some networking fundamental best practices, and this can be both something that happens at an event and also something that happens at a in a webinar of sorts, because there's, I think, so many different types of ways, right? So number one, when you go to a networking event, one of the things that we really care about is it's all about giving. It's all about helping other people. And so when you're at a live event, it's important to ask how you can help others, what brought them there tonight, what they think of the speaker, coming from that level of service mentality. And if you're going to make an ask, either off of, an event like this that we're doing right now, or later when you add somebody on LinkedIn and reach out, you give people an out when you make your request. You say that they don't necessarily have to help you, but if they can, you would be very grateful for it. What you don't do at a networking event or at a networking opportunity is to start with the extremely generic question of what do you do, right? Everybody is really, really annoyed at that question because it really is a question that everybody asks anyway. But more importantly, it's a very dull question and doesn't make you very memorable. You want to be a person who's memorable in all the right ways, and you don't want to only start with yourself and suck the oxygen out of the conversation. You also don't want to pitch slap, right? So, pitch slapping is the art of adding somebody on LinkedIn and then immediately giving them the sale. What you really prefer and really rather should do is figure out how to start a conversation, figure out what it is that they need, find that common ground, and then come from that service mentality. If you ask other people what it is that they want and how you can help them, it is likely that they will do the same. And you also don't want to give them a choice either. Give them no choice. I've had examples that people have shared with me where they were in a networking conversation and the person tried to gaslight them into networking with them. And that's not what you want to do as well. Obviously, this also takes some practice. So if a few of your networking conversations get really awkward, don't feel bad about it. Sometimes it happens. Other best practices for effective outreach is are on this screen, right? So when it comes to having a conversation, using AI may help, but you also want to personalize the conversation to a person's profile. Mentioning something specific about the person or the company or a shared experience is always really interesting and a chance to really get that conversation started. Another way to be an effective networker is to be concise. Even at an event, you're going to be asked what it is that brought you, and so keep it to 3 to 4 sentences. You're looking for a job, you're looking to connect with people, you're looking to meet new people that do interesting things, and so those are all very important and part of the process. Um, you could also be at one of these events and ask for a small favor. And this goes into the informational interviewing aspect that we're going to talk about a little bit later. And then most importantly is to follow up, right? So you're going to accumulate lots and lots of business cards and lots of people who maybe will reach out to you and ask whether and or rather well you'll reach out to and you'll have them in your LinkedIn Rolodex. But it's also important for you to follow up and have a follow-up conversation. Figure out the context of them adding you, find out what relates, and then go from there. And then, of course, use Callings.ai. Callings.ai is something that I've gotten used to and or gotten to know over the last couple of months. And it's a platform that can help you network and really create that CRM system that can keep track of the people that you are networking with. So I encourage you to use that, and I encourage you to also check it out. All right. Okay. And so this leads us to the next conversation, which is the power of AI and networking. I think one of the things that AI has come up with here over the last couple of years is it's really automated the process of what networking looks like, and it's really raised the stakes of how networking happens. As we mentioned earlier, right, 85% of all jobs are found through human connection. And I think what we need to do is we need to really leverage that hidden job market in the right way. And because human to human connection is the end goal, you want to find a way to use AI, but you also want to keep it personal and you want to make sure that you don't sound like a robot. I think we've all read enough AI copy by now that we know that there's sort of this strange pattern and format that people follow. And so at this point, right, personalization is now table stakes, and you really want to use that level of authenticity. And you're going to see that in some of the tactics that we mentioned as well. And as you apply for jobs, networking should follow all job applications that you make. And so, with all of that said, we are now at the part that I think many of you have come here for. It's the three tactics for your networking success. And so, when it comes to networking success, what's incredibly important is we really want to focus on what it is that you can do to become that strong networker and really execute upon networking because, right, we can sit it here and talk to you all day about how networking theory works, but it doesn't actually work until you go out and you do something. And these are all things that you can do that really can get you to the next step of your career move in whichever way you want to make it. So the first one, as we mentioned earlier, is to conduct informational interviews. And an informational interview, I describe it as an interview where you do a very targeted conversation where you ask someone to talk about themselves in a controlled, meaningful, and contextual environment. It provides yourself a chance to showcase your expertise and also gain access to an industry or a company. So let's say, for example, you are a marketing professional who wants to work in the AI space. You have met somebody who works in that space and you want to make that career transition. One of the things that you do is you ask them for 20 minutes of their time to ask them about how they made it into their career. And you can ask this through a LinkedIn chat, a networking event. And what you do is you spend those 20 minutes really asking for their insights and what you can do to possibly make your way into that market, right? And the reason why you conduct an informational interview versus a traditional networking conversation is that traditional networking conversations tend to start and end pretty quickly. An informational interview, you could say, is a longer, more targeted, more specific networking conversation that can take you in many different directions. And so when it comes to an informational interview, uh, you're really asking this person to share with you their experience in their particular job and their career, the projects that they're working on, and the advice that someone would give you in order to make it into the place that they're at. And so, this, if anything else, is also market research of the opportunities that may be potentially available to you. The other thing about an informational interview when it comes to networking is that when done correctly, it will earn you a referral to an opportunity. In all experiences that I've had with informational interviews, what I've learned is having that one-on-one conversation becomes incredibly meaningful because at the end, if you have done your work, if you've asked interesting questions, and you have been somebody who is interested and curious, you will earn the referral where somebody might say, "Hey, I really enjoyed this conversation with you. If you're interested in speaking further, please reach out to me. Please look at our job site and look online." And so the most important part of being a good informational interviewer is to be curious and to be interested. Interested people are interesting. And so when somebody finds that you have found a lot of genuine interest in the type of work that they do, they are going to extend that opportunity because I think, at least in my life experience, people generally want to help other people. And if people aren't interested in informational interviews, they are likely not helpful. And so informational interviews are a really great containerized environment to help you get to that next step. All right. So that's the first one. The second tip is to come from value. Um, So if you think about networking, I want everyone to think about networking as if it was a marketing funnel. You are somebody who is trying to sell yourself as a candidate, and the product is your skills. And so, in order for you to truly showcase who you are, you have to come from that level of skill set. And so, what does that mean? It means to come from value, and it means to be the person in the room that people are going to go to so that they can be seen as somebody who can be helped. And so, what that also means is to be of genuine help and of genuine interest. I think one of the things that is very important, especially in today's world, is we have a lot of noise. And what people are looking for is signal. And so, what it comes to when it comes to this aspect of networking is that you are the signal that stands out from all the noise. You are the lighthouse that helps ships discover their destination. And so, as you look to build your marketing funnel, as you look to build your networking prowess, what you're going to do is you're going to create yourself as that thought leader. And so, what that means is you're going to figure out what it is that you can share based on information that already exists. And so, I want you to take a picture with this or take a screenshot of this slide with your phone. And what I want you to do is I want you to update your resume and or your LinkedIn to ChatGPT, Grok, or Gemini. And we won't have time to fully go through this because we have to do a demo. But what I want you to do is I want you to update your resume and your LinkedIn to to one of these three platforms. And I want you to connect to the internet, particularly I believe that's a ChatGPT feature. And I want you to tell AI to act as if you are the expert in your chosen field. So if you're a product marketer like me who works in the data and analytics space, I want to say act as if you are an expert in the data and analytics space. um, Create a few insights from recent happenings in our industry that leaders and hiring managers would be interested to know about that I can bring my voice to. And so ChatGPT, Grok, or Gemini will create these insights based on what they find on the internet, and you can synthesize that with already what you know, and then add that into your own voice. And then what you're going to do next is that you're going to offer it as a download on Gumroad to share your insights, and those insights are going to get you in the door. Is there any reason why I don't list Copilot? There's really no reason why I'm not listening Copilot. I think it's, whichever AI tool that works best for you. So if you have any AI out there, tell it to act as an expert in your chosen field, then edit into your own voice, offer it as a download, and then when you are networking with others, ask them if they would be okay with you sharing them with some research that you've done or some insights that you've created. Gumroad is a site where you can upload digital products and people can download their digital products from you. And so we have albertslist.gumroad.com where we have a lot of our own things, and I encourage you to check it out from over there as well. So, what it is at the end of the day is that information is plentiful, insights are scarce. Be the interlocutor, be the signal in a sea of noise, and build yourself as that thought leader. Introduce yourself as a person who's gotten your hands on some very important information that you consider to be important. Create a perspective and use that perspective to stand out in the market. All right. So, tip number three is to be the connector. People are always looking, as we said in the last one, guidance and assistance. And it's important for you to be the one that they come to. Many of you are here today because you know me, or you know Garrett, or you found what Garrett had to say in his advertising to you to be compelling and to be a grabber for your attention. Otherwise, you wouldn't be spending the next 60 minutes with us. And so, because we provide a guidance and assistance, we have this privilege to help you out today. And we have the privilege of being a connector for many of you here in this chat today. And so, when you give value or connect A to B, it comes back to you many-fold. And so, one way for you to be that connector and be the person who connects one to the other and is to be somebody who is seen as trustworthy. And so this doesn't mean that you necessarily need to have like 500 people at a particular event. It just means that you are seen as an authority, as somebody who can execute and create. And so in this case, what you can do is you can host a networking mixer. You could put on a Zoom or Google Meets webinar around a topic in your industry. You can host an in-person panel conversation and invite your network to come and share within experiences and insights that you can share. And at the very end, they may look at you and say, "Hey, thanks for putting this together. It was great to share this with you." And with all these other technologies like YouTube and getting a microphone being really easy, and all of us, for the most part, having smartphones, even creating your own podcast is a chance to be that connector and to really conduct both informational interviews and being a connector at the same time. And so I encourage you to really get together, uh, bring people together wherever you may be in the world, right? We all have access to Zoom, we all have access to Google, and meet the people that you connected with today and invite them to your own networking mixer and a chance to build a mastermind or talk about insights that you see in the industry. So check that out and see what is available for you. And what I've done over here is just exactly that over the last 13 years with Albert's List, right? Over the last 13 years, we've held 500 plus events around networking, webinars, workshops, and there are ample networking opportunities in all of these, including today's webinar. So if you're one of the 262 participants here who hasn't had a chance yet to drop your LinkedIn, share where you're dialing in from, I encourage you to do that right now. And so that other people can see who you are, click on your LinkedIn and come and meet you. And that'll be a chance for you to really be a part of this broader community that we're building together. And so what we've done at Albert's List is we positioned ourselves as a connection mechanism. Right? So we use these webinars not only to share our insights on the job market, but also to connect many of you so that many of you can get the resources you need to be successful. And the other thing that we also do is that if you can't build a network or aren't able to build a network, we also encourage you to borrow one. And in this case, I am encouraging you to borrow my network. And so if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, we're doing an in-person networking event on October 21st in San Jose. There will be food, there will be thought leaders like Garrett and I, and this QR code here will give you 25% off on our ticket. But more important to that, uh, even that before that, we have a lot of virtual events as well. And I encourage you to go out and I encourage you to go and meet people who can help you get closer to your goals. And so how has this helped me, right? So the current job that I work at is at a company called SAS. It is a tech company located in North Carolina. And because I've been using my community for over 12 years now, I've actually landed two of my 9 to 5 jobs through Albert's List. And what I did was I positioned myself as an authority. And the person who had referred me through to this company was somebody who 6 months prior I had held a mock interview with. She was going for a job at this very company and was actually able to land at that company. And as you can see in the red square here, she ended up referring me to this job after I was laid off from my previous role. And so when it comes down to this, right, using your authority, giving back to other people, and really being somebody who can be a connector, and if we're all mini connectors, it's even better, can lead us into a point where we all are able to refer each other using know, like, and trust to become somebody who can be referred and seen as that trustworthy person in that community. So, yeah. We no longer have 60 open positions, but we still do have many open positions, so check it out. So, things to keep in mind as you go out there and network. Number one is that not all your networking conversations are going to work out. I like to describe networking as a contact sport because you literally have to go and get contacts, which is a pun in itself. But you also have to just go out and you have to go talk to a lot of people because sometimes it's hard to find those right people. You have to balance networking with the rest of your search. So I encourage you to not only job search, but also to figure out what it is and who it is that you're looking for. In addition to building up your skills, in addition to targeted applications, in addition to building your own personal brand. Number three is I want you to focus on all the right events. Not all the events that are out there are created equal. Some events are pretty terrible. Other events, you can find a lot of really great, meaningful connections. And so look for the types of people there who can really help you out. Number four is that consistency is key. You need to build momentum along the way. And what that really means is that as you build, as you network more, you're going to find people who fit what it is in the mold that you're looking for. You're not just going to go out to one networking event and then hope that that luck plays out. You're going to go to multiple per week and you're going to build it into your entire job search strategy. And finally, familiarity breeds trust, right? So there are many people here in this network, in this webinar, who I have seen over and over and over again, who are literally on my webinars every single week. And I thank them for coming. And I also thank them for being engaging and being trustworthy individuals who make the foundation of these webinars possible. So you know who you are. If you want to comment and say that, you've been to a few hundred of these webinars, please do. You are always welcome back, and we really like having you here. Yeah. And so with that, I want to encourage you to join Albert's List, right? So we have 50,700 recruiters, job seekers, hiring managers, coaches, and more. Give and get advice, discover job listings, get referred, or network with others. And we give you the opportunity really to make the most of your job search strategy because we also believe that abundance is a key factor when it comes to your job search. And so, with a little bit more time left, I want to thank you for your time this morning. I know that your time is very valuable, and that you could be doing many things on a Monday morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. And what I want to do next is I want to go and talk about Callings.ai. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Garrett.
Thank you, Albert. That's fantastic. I love the contact sport angle.
Yeah.
It's
And you and I
you know,
met networking.
remember too that you know you should be talking to as many people as possible and sharing your story and your message because you don't know in advance how things may turn out, who knows who. That's a big part of the serendipity of networking. Um, I'm going to talk specifically about the last of the three networking topics that Albert mentioned, targeted networking. And I mention that because our platform has specifically a targeted networking tool, which can really help you get yourself out there. And so I'm going to go through that. But I did want to talk a little bit. You can go to the next slide, Albert. Talk about a few things first. Albert talked about this, and I just want to highlight this. In the modern job market, AI is essential to your success, right? The job market has changed, as Albert had mentioned. It's more challenging. Most of the people on the other side, the hiring side, are using AI. And so you need to level the playing field. Of course, you also need to learn as much as possible about AI because it's really going to infuse the entire future of work. So if you don't know it, then you may be at its whim rather than being able to use it like a tool. So AI cuts through the noise. It helps automate painful steps. It can empower personalization at scale, which helps you get your brand out there, and then it levels the playing field. Next step. One also thing I want for you all to keep in mind is that AI can help you build your sales funnel. And I say this in the following sense. A job hunt is a sales funnel. You need to find a ton of opportunities at the top. You need to make applications and get yourself out there. You need to network. And each step down the funnel, you narrow it down to the point where hopefully you get some interviews and offers. But if you don't fill the top of the funnel, you can't get to the bottom of the funnel. And so that's why you talk to a lot of people. That's why you apply to a lot of jobs. That's why you put yourself out there, is you're expanding your surface area. So keep that in mind. The other thing I'll say about this sales funnel process is a few things. It is a sales process. You are the product that you're selling in a job hunt. You are also the salesperson. So you're simultaneously the product and the salesperson. It is sometimes hard to sell yourself as a product for humility reasons. And so, part of that process is learning how to do that. The companies that you're applying to, they're the customer. And your goal is to get to an interview and ultimately to be able to close a deal. So keep all of that in mind. Next slide, please. So before I get to the targeted networking piece, I just want to walk through what you're going to need to do in a job hunt. Um, these are the 7 steps that every job seeker must take over and over again to fill their funnel. Number one, you really have to understand yourself. You have to know what your goals and objectives are, where your strengths and weaknesses are, because that's part of the product, right? When people ask you about yourself, you need to be objection handling and selling the best features of you. Then the second step is you need to find opportunities. And there are jobs everywhere, and you need to find them. Many jobs are not even posted, right? They're only available inside. So you need to fill the top of your funnel with opportunities, with the understanding that you're not going to get them all. But you can't get to the ones that you are successful with without trying a lot. You need to research those opportunities and fully understand them so that you come across as knowledgeable. And also to make certain that they match you. You need to customize your approach to them, your sales pitch to them, which includes customizing resumes and cover letters, outreach messages, etc. Then you need to apply to those jobs. You have to apply to win. You have to be in the system for most companies. In many companies, if you're not in the system, even if the CEO recommends you, you have to put yourself in the system for them to get the bureaucracy going to consider you as a candidate. So you need to apply. Then you need to network like crazy to try and get your resume, which is when you apply, you're just a resume in a pile. And so networking is what gets your resume in front of a hiring manager so that they know you and you become not a piece of paper, you become a real person in their eyes. And then, of course, you need to go and do interview prep if you can get to the interview phase so that you sell yourself the right way. So those are the 7 steps of the workflow. Callings.ai, next slide, please, is a platform built around this workflow, and it manages all of those aspects in one place using our tracking system, our CRM. So you don't need to build your own spreadsheet. And our focus is really around managing your job hunt and empowering and accelerating it. So we have tools for we're completely a comprehensive platform. We think the most comprehensive job hunt platform in the market right now. We're personalized to you. Our goal is not to tell a fake story, but to help you tell your story well. And then we think easy to use. So that's the outline on what Callings is. And hopefully it'll help you on the things that Albert's talking about, especially networking. Next slide. Oh. So that was my big build on the networking piece, that arrow. So with that, I'm gonna actually show you a little bit how to network using this platform. And so here is what Callings looks like. What I'm showing you here is the tracker. I've added a bunch of jobs that I found already. So Callings can accept jobs from anywhere. So we have an extension on Chrome. So if you find jobs on LinkedIn, you can bring them into our tracker. If you add jobs manually from hiring companies, you can do that by clicking this button. And then we also have a job system where we use AI to go out, read your resume, and find jobs that you're qualified for. And then we give you this match score right here to show you how close this job matches, your resume matches this job. And so that helps. That's one of our more popular features. There's a question whether it's available in the UK. Yes, we have jobs on our platform for people in the UK. So you can just go ahead and add jobs to your job tracker this way. Don't show again, add a job. And what we do is we bring those jobs in to this platform, and we use AI to start running a bunch of reports on those jobs against your resume and against your background so that we can help you with your candidacy. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but one of the things we provide, and this is important for networking, is we have this My Insights tool. And after we read your resume, we ask you a series of questions about yourself. And if you take the time to do that, we generate 4 really valuable reports that will help you in networking. We help you identify what your goals are. What we do is in your own words, we basically report back to you. You said that, role, responsibility, and industries are the most important things for you, more important than career growth, culture, compensation. And so this gives you a sense of what's important to you. We provide an ideal job report. Again, this is based on your resume and your own words. We report back to you what your ideal job might look like. And that's helpful to keep in the back of your mind as you're looking for a job. It helps you find job opportunities like that. It also helps you to solidify what your goals are in your job hunt. We also help you identify things like personas. So based on reading your resume, here are ways you can articulate your value to a hiring company. So for this resume, it's the person is an innovation architect or strategic alliance builder or creative catalyst. And we provide details on what we mean by that. And again, we're not making this up. This comes from this resume and the answers provided. And again, these are all things that you can then study and have in the back of your mind when you're talking to people. Finally, we help you develop brand elements, your 20-second elevator pitch, your 2-minute pitch, a professional summary that you can put into emails or at your LinkedIn profile or on your resume, headlines that you can use to articulate yourself quickly to somebody, what makes you unique, your top 10 skills, your top 10 achievements. These are the questions people ask in any kind of conversation you're going to have. And so by having these, you have, especially if you can put these into your own words, you have the answers to these things that come off as competent, relevant, important. And so I encourage you to check out the My Insights feature. It helps you articulate you and your personal brand, which is an essential first step, that know thyself step of a job hunt. Once you've done that, you start adding jobs as I showed you, and you fill your funnel. I'm going to now show you how we help you with targeted networking. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to pick this job from Apple. So in your tracker, we show you all the jobs that you're interested in. We'll show you the company, the job title, when it was listed, when it was added to your tracker, the salary. And then when you click in, we provide a powerful set of tools for you to pursue this job. We provide a bunch of tools to help you evaluate this job, including the published job description and a call out of the skills that you're going to need. Make certain these are on your resume because applicant tracking systems will auto reject you if you don't have them. We provide a job fit report, which breaks down your candidacy against this job, the pros, the cons, a conclusion about your candidacy, and details about where you're strong and weak for this specific role. We provide a company report where we show you the Glassdoor ratings, the history of the company, et cetera. So this is Apple, and you can see it's pretty well thought of, my old company. So way to go, Apple. Always a great place to work. And the latest news, you can't interview without knowing what's going on with the company you're applying to. So we provide all of that. We provide tools for customizing your resume and cover letter. So we generate a new resume based on your old resume specific to this job. You can go through and evaluate this resume, kind of like in Microsoft Word. What we do is we call out what we've changed. So you can see the diff or the difference. And then you can just go through and say accept or keep original, and you can build a resume specific for this job. This is all a word processor too. So you can go through this and type in your own stuff, make certain it's in your own words. And so, and then we do the same for a cover letter, and we provide prompting tools in case you want to make changes to the cover letter. All of that's built in. And this is the point that we're here to talk about today, which is networking. So after you've created a custom resume and cover letter and applied to the job so that your resume is inside the company and in the big stack, we do something that is unique. We go out and we look at the job description and the details of this job, and we go through LinkedIn and find the people who are connected to this role at the company. And we try and find 3 to 5 to 7 people that are related to this senior product manager at Claris job. And we bring you details of them. You can read who they are, why we recommend that you talk to them, what strategy we recommend for outreach, what you have in common with them, details about their network, interests that they are articulating on their profile, their work history. We bring it all into Callings for you. And then If you hit reach out, we generate an outreach message, which you can edit or you can prompt to edit. And we give you two options. You can hit use LinkedIn and we'll copy it into your clipboard and take you right to this person's profile on LinkedIn. Or we find their email address for you. And you just hit use email and we'll launch this in your email browser and you can send the message. Our goal here is that funnel. So you want to reach out to a person like this, but you want to reach out to all of these people. And here's why. If you can, so we believe you can apply to a job in less than 5 minutes on our platform and do all of this networking as well. And so if you do that, and within an hour, you could apply to say 5 jobs, and you could network to 7 people, 5 to 7 people a job. That's where the networking starts to take over. If you've outreached to 35 people a day, you're going to be meeting a lot of people, even if only a small percentage of them respond to you. And that is the goal. A couple other things to remember about targeted networking. When you're applying for a job, many companies have bonus programs for their employees to help them find candidates for open roles. So these people are not going to be as off-putting as you think to hear from you because they might make money off of you. They also might be very interested in filling that role because maybe they're double dipping and having to do that job while they're trying to fill it. So there's all sorts of reasons why these people might talk to you. Of course, one of the biggest is do want to help other people. And if you're qualified for the role and you reach out politely, there's a great chance that these people will respond. So go through, apply to these jobs, network to these people, and then after you network, go into the notes and put in a reminder to yourself, follow up in 2 weeks. Do one follow up. If they don't respond after that, move on, but do one follow up for everybody that you network to. So one other thing is hopefully that leads to interviews. The goal of applying to a job is to get your resume into a pile. The goal of networking for a job is to get your resume to the top of the pile so that they'll consider you and get you into an interview. The goal of an interview is to make your sales pitch and win the job. So you cannot get a job by just submitting or networking. You have to get to the interview phase, but that's the goal of this funnel that I described. So we provide a detailed interview report, by the way, pep talk on your candidacy, pitfalls where you need to prep and defend, strategies, who you're going to likely interview with, the interview topics they're likely to bring up and how to prepare, questions they're likely to ask and answers for them for you to study, behavioral questions that are very common, any potential answers that you could study as well based on things like the STAR situation. The STAR method, which is, what's situation, task, action, um, uh, uh, results, and I can't remember what all STAR stands for, but basically helping you get through to that, questions that you can ask them so that it's not a one-sided interview, resources to study, and you can edit, put your own notes into this as well. So, this is a full-fledged job hunt platform, but the main thing is the networking. And so with that, I will step off, but I just wanted you to see all of those tools. There's more. We offer coaching systems, et cetera, resume reporting and review, all in the platform. And all of you have access to that platform for the first 30 days for free. So you can try this out at no risk. And if you put the slide back up, Albert, we can show the URL. It's pretty simple. It's callings.ai/Albert. So if you do that, you get 30 days free if you use that URL and go try it out. We think we can help you with your job hunt and specifically with networking and targeted networking. So thank you so much for your time on that. And we can now turn it over to the broad-based questions about networking that you might have.
All right, awesome. Can everybody see this screen? I'm just trying to navigate my computer here. Okay. All right. Very orange now on this screen. All right. Cool. Let's go to the Q&A real quick. All right. Just wanted to stop by and say cool tool. Good work, Garrett. Can this app help find remote jobs that allow me to work anywhere and not in one state only?
Uh, sure. I think that's really a search criteria for jobs, but you can certainly put in that you only want remote jobs. Um, and that's just a search criteria for you, and that's part of your needs and wants. So thank you.
Yep. When will the recording will be sent sometime later today. So watch out for it in your Eventbrite or from a message from Garrett. Do you need to include a professional summary at the top of your resume? Is it important since it seems like I'm just summarizing my resume? Absolutely. So people only spend 6 seconds on your resume, and it's usually the top right corner. So you want to lure people in with something interesting. All right. Customizing my resume for each job has been exhausting. Will Callings.ai save each customized resume?
Yes. So the way
Awesome.
our system works is you have your base resume, the one that you upload. We take that resume and without making changes, make it a rich text format resume. Why? Because applicant tracking systems scrape. So if you have a formatted resume, sometimes they garble your data. So we know that putting it into rich text format is the best way to submit. Then for each job in your tracker, we build a custom resume for that role.
Hmm.
So, and that is saved, all the notes, everything for each role you apply to is always there, saved, so that you can go back and refer to it so you know what your actions have been for every job you apply to. And remember, the average job seeker today is applying to between 50 and 100 jobs to be successful. I hate to bring you that news. I didn't make the rules, but it's just best to understand that you're in a funnel situation and you just need to apply a lot. And that's why the tracker on Callings is so valuable because we can help you keep track of all of those jobs.
Yep. How much is Callings.ai after 30 days?
So on a monthly basis, $29.99. We offer steep discounts for 6 month and 1 year packages, 33 and 50% respectively. And most of our users buy the extended packages because the average job hunt for white collar workers between 5 months and a year. Again, I didn't invent that statistic. It's just that's the reality of it.
Yeah,
So we
very
think it's pretty
useful.
affordable. That's an affordable investment in helping accelerate your job hunt.
Yep. Can Callings.ai work for academic jobs and for CVs instead of resumes?
Yes. Um, Now, to be fair, we built Callings first and foremost around white collar workers, mostly in high tech and corporate jobs. But we have users in the academic space who are using CVs, and the reports that we've gotten are that it does work with them as well. Of course, please review your resume, make certain that it fits your needs. Um, but but we have users who are doing that.
Yep. Let's see. Will I get billed automatically after 30 days?
No,
No. Okay.
Nope. And not
Uh,
only that, hunting for jobs and saving jobs and applying for jobs remain free forever. It's only if you use the AI tools that we provide that we charge a premium because it costs us money to use them too.
yeah. So is having a nice looking resume useless? I'm in the marketing industry, so if it's reviewed in the format I uploaded by a human person, it might be important. Yes and no. I would say that you need a resume that is functional and is written in an order that is helpful for the hiring manager to understand your story. While trying to join the Facebook link, I was passed from one browser profile with the initial group to Recruiters Online and Asian Hustle Network. We're not really affiliated with them, but I am in those groups, and so we're in there. Let's see. When applying for a job, which format should your resume or cover letter be in, Word or PDF? Can both be screened by the ATS. Usually it depends on what they're asking for, but I've heard that a lot more success can be had with a Word document. Will Callings.ai work for an HR professional?
For an HR professional,
Yep.
is that the question?
Yep.
Yes. In fact, we have a lot of HR professionals on the platform, and uh, the feedback has been pretty good from them. So, um, that's kind of right up in our wheelhouse, a white collar job. And of course, the HR area right now is being hit harder than most with layoffs and reductions. Um, but but we do have a ton of HR jobs, and our workflow works with them.
All right.
If we use callings, can companies or ATS systems um, tell if we're using AI? Some claim so. Here's the thing. If you write it entirely yourself, you probably still score on the AI scale for many of these evaluators. They don't work very well. Um, and so I don't know that companies are going to commit to removing resumes out of fear that they've been written by AI, because I don't think there's a really foolproof way of confirming that.
Does Callings.ai help with better resume format and language for someone with more than 10 to 12 years of work experience?
Our resume tool will help you build a better resume. It depends on industry. In high tech, in most white collar jobs in America, the expectation is the resume will be 1 to 2 pages at most, with bullet points. That differs in other countries, but we align with the template that you upload and try and improve it. And as I mentioned, our the decision we made is to make your resume as easy as possible for the ATS systems to read.
Gotcha.
You know,
Um, all right. How do you transition a conversation with someone so you can ask them to be able to help you get a role, or if they know someone who can help? So you should conduct an informational interview in that case, so that you can share why it is that you're interested in that particular role, and then you have to earn your way to that referral. If you ask straight up to somebody who doesn't know you, then it might come off as very off-putting. So keep that social grace in mind. Okay. When will you be adding more individual company career sites, and can I send a list for you to add? Oh, that's interesting. Um, how can I get a remote job from another state when I live in California? What can I do to get a job while in California until I relocate? Find yourself an address in that state and use that. And indicate that you are going to move. And in some cases, they're just going to want you to move first so that they know you've made that transition. Okay. How many industries does Calling.ai cover? I have worked in retail, tech, manufacturing, B2B, B2C, e-commerce, and Latin American companies.
our jobs database is global, and fairly broad spread. Within the next 45 days, we'll have up to 40 times more jobs than we have now. All global jobs, all directly from hiring companies. So we feel we cover an increasingly large percentage of the jobs that are out there. And of course, we're agnostic. So if you, for example, have a specialty job board that you get jobs for a specialty job like say nursing, you can bring those jobs into our tracker, and all of the rest of our tools still work.
Awesome. All right. Okay, cool. I know there's a lot more questions here. I encourage you to reach out to Garrett, and he can help you answer many of these questions. You can also use Callings.ai for free for 30 days with Callings.ai/Albert. That'll get you at least a taste of what this platform is all about. Um, yeah, and let's see. Um, do we want to answer more questions, Garrett, or should we? I think we should wrap.
Unfortunately, I'm late to my next event. But I put my email in the thing. If you have questions in the discussion, if you have questions, just drop me an email. I'm happy to answer them. And I'm sorry that I would have to cut out on you, but um, also there's a on every page of the calling site is a give feedback button. We almost respond to that, usually respond to that within 24 hours and often within an hour. So you can go on the site and answer questions there as well. Happy to chat with you and help you out.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Albert's List has many more events coming up, and we've got also more events on the pipeline with Garrett. Garrett, thank you so much for being with us here today and
Thank you,
sharing this
Albert.
amazing platform and having me speak on your platform as well. and I look forward to more soon. Best of luck to everyone in their job searches, and we'll see you in other events moving forward. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.